semen retention. I have no idea what I'm going to title this video because I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. So I'll decide that later, but I am coming up on a year now of this, and it's quite crazy to see, to just sort of observe the transformations within yourself on this journey. If you've been doing this for a decent amount of time, 6 months, a year, or any time, in between there, you'll start to notice, that it's almost like you're being rewired, restructured as a human being. And it doesn't always feel good. You're going to go through some times that are pretty destructive, right? Pretty difficult. It's like you gotta destroy the old to make way for the new, so to speak. And you're gonna notice things change about yourself. Like everything changes about yourself. And it's still, every day is a battle, but you continue, you keep continuing, and you keep noticing these subtle changes. I've noticed recently I've had a lot more balance. I've noticed it's a ton of balance. I used to be a very imbalanced person. I used to be acting very much more feminine. And, things would just get to me. Things would get to me, little things, right? Things that now, I just I wouldn't even think of them as anything. Like they're not even anything to get upset about or throw a fit about or to get in my emotions about. But I look at these things, and these are things that I used to kind of lose it a little bit about, not anything crazy, but I could get, I was very much looking at life through a lens of sort of a helpless way, in sort of the way, like sort of a victim way, where I wanted people to solve problems for me. I saw that things were inefficient. I would be frustrated with like inefficiency and things not going well, but I lacked the capacity, or even the, I guess ability is the same thing, but I lacked the capacity to not only check my emotions, but also solve the issue. Like take it into my own hands to solve the issue. And I think the key thing about being a man that I think was always sort of missing for me was you should never operate from a place of helplessness. You should never view your life or your circumstance or anything that's going on around you in some sort of complaining type way or perspective, right? Never look at things, and if they're negative, never look at the situation and say, oh God, it's just so, and you're just pointing out what's wrong, oh, blah, blah, blah. And like, that is, I, to a significant degree, lack the capacity to even do that anymore. If I do, which I'm sure I could if the situation was more extreme. But if I do, I catch myself. I catch myself very quickly, and I make sure that I'm acting from a place of solution, right? Men always act from a place of solution. You are going to solve the issue. Life is always going to come with issues. There's always going to be problems. As soon as you step outside your door in the morning, there are going to be issues. You're never just going to have, you're never just going to finally solve your last issue and everything's going to be grand. You'll never have to, you know what I mean? There's always going to be problems to solve, always going to be hurdles. There's always going to be things either at your work, in your marriage or your relationship or in your friend group or in your personal sort of ventures or whatever. There's always going to be things that don't go well, things that are unexpected, things that are just they're there to, you know, they're gonna make it's there to make you better, but you're gonna feel like it's just there to piss you off, just to make things hard, right? I used to look at things like that in my life, and I used to really struggle with seeing something being wrong, seeing something that was wrong, something that was going wrong, something that wasn't ideal, something that was inefficient, something that's just not going the right way in whatever realm of my life, whatever area of my life. And I would tend to let it get me emotionally kind of unbalanced, especially if the stress had kind of built up already from the day, right? If it was one thing kind of after another, if it was just like one thing, I could kind of handle it. But if it was one thing after another, usually the buildup would kind of just get to me, right? And if there's just things going wrong, I would just, it's not like I would freak out or anything. Maybe when I was younger, I would freak out. But when I was super young, in my teens, right? Um, but even only, before I started doing this, which was a year ago, go back a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I would very much like complain. I would have this complaining sort of attitude. And I wouldn't complain to people, like I wouldn't dump it on other people, but I could make like little remarks, like little sarcastic, passive aggressive like sort of remarks, and like be like snippy and say like a just a some sort of remark that shows that I'm just like upset with the way that things are going. But I wouldn't have a solution, right? Or if I did have a solution, it probably wouldn't be the ideal solution. It would probably be something that I wasn't confident in. And also, it would come with this like, oh, I'm solving this, I'm upset or whatever. And that is just super. I look at that now and I'm just like, it's just not the proper way to operate as a man. It just isn't. And you notice this when you start to build up this masculine energy within yourself, when you start doing semen retention. You notice over time that you're starting to lack the capacity to even operate like that. You don't even express yourself like that, right? It's almost like, and I've said this before, that you are able, your sort of memory, your RAM is now, instead of 4 GB, it's 16 or 32 or whatever. You're operating on higher efficiency. You can handle a lot more bandwidth. You can handle a lot more stress, and it doesn't feel stressful to you. Whereas before, your life was very like, you could only do a few things, and anything a little, throw a little wrench in the mix, and you just couldn't handle it. And it was just difficult to even get through your daily life. You were barely, you could feel very stressed about very just average things, right? Whereas now you're able to handle a lot more things and just not really get stressed out. And with this comes this, you sort of naturally develop this sense of everything's good, everything's fine. If things go wrong, I'm gonna solve it. If people are, and it's crazy because you'll see other people behaving the way that you used to behave. They'll be complaining and telling a story and getting in their feelings and looking for somebody to fix it. And who's that somebody now? That somebody's you. Hi, yeah, I'll fix it. No, it's all good. I'll fix it. Okay, so we're just gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And they look at you as if like, oh, it's like it's like daddy's here, you know. Oh, taking care of it. Oh, finally a guy that can just take care of it, you know. You start to become sort of this. You start to incrementally get better and better at this. You start to take things. You take the initiative now. You take it into your own hands because now you have the energy. Now you have the intelligence, right? You have the creativity. You have um, the adaptability, right? You're super adaptable. If things go wrong, you don't even feel like things are going wrong. You just feel like things just changed, right? You see problems as just like, okay, this is just a change. This is just sort of a wrench, and we just gotta move with it. We gotta flow with it. We gotta let's solve this, you know. And if we can't solve it, then we just got to accept it and let's keep going, right? You operate your life from a very solution based mentality, a very I can handle this no matter what it is, no matter how big a thing it is. I can handle this. I will handle it. I'm not going to put it on other people. I'm not going to look to other people to solve my problems for me. Because you think about it, it's especially selfish if you are um, looking to other people to solve your problems for you if they have less energy than you. And it's almost like once you have more energy than those around you, you can't even do that. You like something inside you won't even let you put the problem onto somebody else. Put the solution onto somebody else. That's somebody else's responsibility. You can't even do it. It's like this universal sort of law that's like, nope, the one who has the most energy, the one who has the most core energy in the room, they solve it, right? They solve the issue. It's like they're the leader, so to speak. Um, and that's not to say that you'll be, you know, that's not to say that that's true. It's just it's just something that I've kind of picked up on that it's a possibility. And you know, it's not to say that there won't be people that are solving things, and people, you know, certain people in certain situations can solve things because they have a working knowledge, right? They have a life experience. They have certain technical skills that you just don't possess, right? It's not an issue of, you know, energy or handling stress or adaptability, let's say, or leadership. It's not necessarily that problem. It's a problem of you lack the skills, you lack the technical ability or skills to solve an issue, in which case somebody else would have to solve that issue, because they have the technical skills to do it. But you know, that's different. But if there's ever a situation where, you know, everybody's kind of on an equal playing field and somebody needs to decide something or handle a situation or solve the problem or something like that, I swear to God, it's almost like people start looking to you to solve the issue because they just inherently, something senses in them, something inherently knows that would have the best response. You would handle it in the most balanced way, the most critical. You'll think critically about it. You'll solve it in an efficient way. Um, you'll have the discernment to solve this issue or this problem or to make the best decision or whatever, right? It is very interesting. And it's almost like this is a requisite, this ability to take your life on your own shoulders and solve things now. Whereas before, you literally felt like you didn't deserve that. This is what it felt like. It felt like you didn't deserve that that position. You didn't deserve the position of making the decision, of taking responsibility, of leading, of solving the problem. You didn't deserve it because you knew that like you weren't it. It's like you were faking it. Like you, if you would have done it, if you would have taken that position, you would have been exposed as a fraud eventually because you would have cracked under the pressure of, in some other situation, or if they raised the heat a little bit, you would have cracked under the pressure. This is what I'm saying. Like energy is really like you cannot. It's one thing that you just can't fake. It's like it's real. It's real. Like you either have it or you don't. And when you have it, you notice that like your responsibility just kind of naturally increases, and you're not even all you're doing is just retaining your seed. Like all you're doing is just not partaking in all the bad habits. All you're doing is going, doing the hard things that other people in life won't do. All you're doing is facing reality head on. All you're doing is interacting with all the difficult emotions as they come in your daily life. And because that's how you'll get better with your emotions. The only way that you'll ever get better with your emotions is to actually soberly engage with your emotions, not run from your emotions, not distract yourself from your emotions, not drink this, not pop this pill to numb yourself from your emotions. You know that you need to feel your emotions, right? And that's how you get better. You need to feel stress, and that's how you handle stress better. You need to feel pain. That's how you handle pain better. You need to feel, toxic, energies and, dysfunctional energies and, problems and stuff like that. That's how you get better at dealing with those things. It is very interesting. This is very interesting about semen retention. If you've been doing this for a good amount of time, I'm sure you've picked up on this. I'm sure you've picked up on the fact that, when you're real, like when you're no longer fake, like when you actually do have an abundance of core energy, when you're doing all the right things, when you're showing the universe or God that you're here to, you know, live a virtuous life that serves a higher purpose, then you are bestowed with, a blessing, or you are bestowed with, you know, certain capabilities that others just won't, they just won't have. And this is part of this journey, uh, you are going to be put in positions of leadership. You are going to be looked at to make decisions. Just know that this will come, and the further down this path that you go, the more you will be, sort of given these responsibilities, and at a higher level and a higher level. Um, and it feels good because now you're looking at life. You don't feel helpless. For most of my life, I did look at my life as if I was helpless, as if I just couldn't. It's just always another thing, isn't it? I just can't catch a break. It's always, I just can't, and it was just always this like complaining type of narrative. And it feels very helpless. You feel like a victim to life. Even though I didn't have a victim ideology really, but you know, if things ever went wrong, that's when I would kind of develop this sort of victim, like, oh God. Of course I would, work through it. I would work through my stuff, but now it's different. Now it's like if things go wrong, it's like you don't even, it's like you're just, okay, let's work through this. It's literally just non-reactive. It's almost like you're non-reactionary. You're just like, okay, I have to solve this. Okay. And you're just acting in a more balanced way. Um, and yeah, you now your life is a lot more enjoyable because your life you see in this lens of, I'm going to do it, right? I can solve this. This isn't an issue. I'm going to solve this. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get better from this. It's positive, right? It's positive. It's solution based. It is you're taking your life in your own hands finally, right? Because you actually have the power to do it now. You're not faking it. You're not fake anymore. You actually do have the power to do it. And at first it's going to feel a little weird. You're going to have that old tendency of like complain and like, but then you'll realize, wait. No. I feel good. I feel good. Like I don't feel like I have to complain about it. I feel like I can solve this. Let me solve this. And then it starts to become you start to get better and better over time. Like then it starts to become kind of second nature. Like you just start to, take more initiative, take more action. You're action based, solution based. That's what a man is, right? Always action based, solution based, always positive, always thinking that every problem is an opportunity. Don't look at your life from this victim, helpless mentality. And of course, you can't fake it, right? This goes back to energy. You can't fake these things. This is only possible if you retain your masculine energy. It just makes sense, right? The more masculine energy you have within yourself, the more masculine you're going to be. Of course, you naturally just start behaving more like a man, wouldn't you? You start naturally taking more control, more initiative, being more assertive, taking more leadership, just naturally. All right, that's it. That's the video.